Anthony Lewandowski, the former Waymo engineer whose startup Uber acquired last year, could be called to testify in court during the trial, a federal judge ruled on Wednesday. Lewandowski has invoked his Fifth Amendment earlier in the case, so questions for him will have to be vetted. The judge will also allow the jury to hold his pleading the Fifth against him, but not against Uber. Travis Kalanick, the former Uber CEO, has recently hired his own lawyers, former U.S. Attorney Melinda Hogg and one of her colleagues at Orrick, Sergey Brin. Larry Page. On Wednesday, the judge also ordered that Alphabet co-founder Sergey Brin be deposed, something his company's lawyers initially declined. Earlier this month, the judge ordered that Alphabet's other co-founder, Larry Page, also be deposed. Uber claims that they know important information about Lewandowski's departure from their company. Morrison Forster Strauss Friedberg, the roles of the law firm and forensics company in the alleged theft of trade secrets continues to be debated. Mofo is part of Uber's legal team in the trial, but because it worked on Uber's acquisition of Lewandowski's startup, Waymo wants to disqualify it from the trial. Waymo also argues that the two companies likely got their hands on the stolen files as part of the acquisition and should not only turn them over as evidence, but it should also imply that Uber has had access to those files as well. As of Wednesday's hearing, Mofo can continue to represent Uber, but its participation will be tricky during trial. The hearing next month will also address whether the two companies disobeyed a court order to submit the documents. Uber, the ride-hailing company, continues to maintain its recent claim that Lewandowski downloaded the proprietary files from Waymo because of late payments of his bonus. On Thursday, Uber's attorneys for the company told the judge that it's confident that Lewandowski's testimony would be helpful to its case and welcomes that, as part of the trial. Waymo. Right now, Waymo's biggest challenge is showing that its trade secrets have indeed seeped into Uber's development of self-driving car technology. So far, it's made a good case that Lewandowski has downloaded thousands of files, but the presiding judge warned the company that it appears to be grasping at new theories to try to show the former. On Thursday, Waymo's attorneys suggested that they do indeed have such evidence for trial. We asked some lawmakers if they would trust a virtual legislative staffer. Reactions were mixed. You definitely don't want to, especially being a former legislative aide. You don't want to throw the staff under the bus. So I guess I would want human supervision, so that we at least still had, for better or worse, all the elements of what comes with the human decision-making process, said Sen. John Thune, RSD, who added that there's a certain amount of this that's still intuitive. Montana, Sen. Steve Daines, a former tech exec, said that he's always intrigued by technology, and having spent much of my life in technology, I think you always want to keep an open mind about what could be in the future. You can get a lot of research being done through technology, said California Rep. Ro Khanna, who represents part of Silicon Valley, but ultimately the art of being a legislator requires judgment, and I don't think you can ever train a robot to have compassion or to have empathy or to think about issues of justice. One caveat, Flynn said that at least from a constituent relations perspective, I think it's always the case that constituents